We'll stay with John Cena, and there's a new legal dispute, which is over his entrance theme, courtesy of reporting from Brandon Thurston. A lawsuit filed this week names WWE, TKO, John Cena himself, and several others, and it centres on the horn arrangement in Cena's theme, most specifically the do-do-do-do slash John Cena sucks.
Don't forget
part of the theme.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's it.
Of course, we could not play these clips thanks to YouTube, but you got us. Why do you need?
That's it. And given the sensitivities of this, I think we're best not playing the, comparing the original tune versus the current one or whatever. But anyway, this complaint has been brought by Kim Schofield, who's the daughter of a Canadian band leader called Pete Schofield. And being a Canadian yourself, I'm sure you're more than familiar.
Pete Schofield and the Canadians? Are you kidding me? With Tammy Rafferty? Come on. Yeah. Who doesn't know this? Every Canadian has this on their shelf.
Well, I saw that your Spotify Wrapped average, your listening age was 82, I think. So,
80. Give me some credit. Okay?
So, sorry,
I'm 80. Yeah.
Thanks to your love of the Beatles, I think mainly. Yeah. Anyway, this goes into the 70s rather than the 60s. This horn intro in Cena's theme is allegedly copied from her late father's 1974 instrumental.
It's not alleged. I mean,
you're right. It's not alleged.
The beat maker made a video in 2021 explaining exactly where he got it from.
Yeah, the producer Jake One.
Yes.
Who created the beat that became Cena's theme, has been on YouTube. He held up the LP and explained how he rearranged the horn section of this track, the intro and outro, to create this beat. So it's not. I don't think it's in dispute.
It's not. I mean, in fact, WWE paid Schofield's daughter.
Yes, and that's really for me the crux of this. Back in 2017. A one-time payment of $50,000 as a settlement was reached in a dispute over this. Kim Schofield now alleges WWE withheld key information during those negotiations, including the long-term value of the song, at that time an imminent Toyota advertising campaign that used the theme.
That aired in the US but not in Canada. For sure.
Yeah. The lawsuit asks the court to void this earlier settlement on the basis of alleged misrepresentation and seeks damages of somewhere around $150,000, which to me still seems on the low side. To me, this is the crux of all of this. Is whether 2017 isn't that long ago, and seen as a big star. In what world is $50,000? If that figure's accurate, remotely adequate for an arrangement that underpins one of the most iconic wrestling themes. And I suppose this goes, you can talk about it, but I suppose this goes to the culture of samples in general, but it's such an underpinning of that whole song.
Yeah. As far as like the $50,000 that was paid. So again, everybody, this is not so much about whether or not the song was used in John Cena's theme. It is used in John Cena's theme. There's no debate there. WWE isn't debating that. Nobody's debating that. The debate is around whether WWE accurately represented the value of the song to the daughter of the composer who originally made this version of the song that was sampled in their negotiation for the $50,000 payment that was given to her, essentially to settle for the rights to the song. She is arguing that they misrepresented it and therefore would like that contract voided and relitigated. In addition to that, there's also the added wrinkle of a 2019 release for a collection of songs called WWE Uncaged X, or Uncaged 10, I believe in this case, where they released a version of John Cena's theme. And I listened to this. It's more so like a sort of like a quiet, like softer arrangement containing like the notes of the horns and all that. So she's alleging that was released without proper credit given to her father. So there's that. Now, what makes things even more complicated to all of this is the fact that the original song here by Pete Schofield and the Canadians is actually a cover
Yeah.
of an existing song prior to this. That was here. It's what do they call it?
It's called The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia.
Yeah, by Bobby Russell.
That's right, Bobby
Yep.
Russell.
The or the writer of that one is Bobby Russell. This version that you're seeing on screen here is by Vicki Lawrence, and all these songs are bangers. I urge you all to go check them out via Brandon's article at postwrestling.com, of course. And so what makes things extra complicated is the fact that these horns were, yes, they only appear in the Pete Schofield version, but they are taken from a progression that was originally established in this Bobby Russell version. Let me just double check that it's Bobby Russell. I don't want to get it wrong.
It is.
Yeah,
He's
Bobby
the
Russell.
writer. Yeah. Bobby Russell. And this
So now the
Pete
copyright.
Schofield version is a cover of that song, an instrumental cover with with the horns added as an intro and outro. But as you say, it's kind of based on something else to begin with. So the horns are, there's an argument there to be made. Are the horns themselves an extension of an existing IP, or are they completely original?
Yeah. And of course, like music fans, might recognize a similar lawsuit that had taken place years ago between the Verve and their Bittersweet Symphony with the Rolling Stones. They famously lost all their money up until recently. They lost all their money that they earned from Bittersweet Symphony. And it somehow ended up with Mick Jagger and I believe Alan Klein and Keith Richards, right? But it was not taken, that sample, the string sample, was not taken from the Rolling Stones version of the song. It was taken from like an instrumental cover of their song. So this is something very similar, but in this case, Pete Schofield's daughter is claiming that she has ownership of this particular horn arrangement because her father, somehow she's arguing that this is her father's original work.
Yeah.
And I believe she registered for the two copyrights in 2024 and 2025. Kim Schofield did, but the Bobby Russell estate and its music publisher Pixrus have challenged the registrations, according to Schofield's account, arguing that the Schofield arrangement is an unauthorized derivative work. The complaint counters that the Russell side accepted royalties for horn parts, which Schofield says were original to her father. So that in itself is its own sort of mini battle that is taking place here before we could even get to this TKO John Cena WWE battle as well.
There's even more to this, not to overcomplicate it. Kim Schofield is representing herself. There's some question marks over the because this is a brand new litigation whether the has been properly done. None of the defendants have yet filed any response. Just procedural questions. We'll see how all of this goes, but it's interesting for sure.
It's very interesting. Yeah, I believe they might have like 21 days to respond, so we'll find out in a few weeks' time. I love this sort of like stuff, and I mean hip hop sampling clearances in litigation is just incredibly fascinating, and it's a very sort of like weird, complex web. I guess my whole question is like, I mean, this Jake One, the producer who initially made it, like briefly alluded to just the complications of clearing the samples in his beat breakdown of this particular video, which you can also find in the article from Brandon Thurston here, and doesn't go into any sort of detail, but we do know that there was some sort of like process of sample clearance when this song was originally created. So what was missing there? Who did they clear the sample with? Clearly not with Schofield. Was it just simply with Bobby Russell then? There's a lot we don't know.
Yeah, because in the original case, she claims she'd never heard the song. She's obviously not a wrestling fan. The Cena song, the Cena's entrance music until 2015, when it was brought to her attention by someone else. So,
this is, of course, not the only litigation to stem from the John Cena theme song, because in 2008, we had the rap group MOP, claim infringement off of their, like the sample heard at the beginning of it. So this is a song that they've certainly earned a lot of money from, but has also gotten them into a lot of trouble. So that also means you're likely to hear a lot more what do they call that? Death Rebel than maybe something like this for quite some time.
But I think we'll definitely hear John's entrance music next Saturday at Saturday night's main event. I think that's it.
You don't think they'll just give a Death Rebel generic number to him for that last one?
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. Just have him shout, "You can't see me," and then just sort of some morphing into some MP4.
Yeah.
December on the Post Wrestling Cafe, we have 2 editions of Rewind Away set for you, including a patron's pick where you have voted for us to review the Survivor Series from 1991, Hulk Hogan's Gravest Challenge. Then it's over to 2002 and a review of the very first WWE draft involving Raw and SmackDown as they kick off the brand extension. David Bixenspan is going to join me as we review Video Killed the Radio Star, a documentary on Bubba the Love Sponge, and the sex tape involving Hulk Hogan. Plus, we will have reviews of TNA Final Resolution, New Japan's World Tag League Final, Collision Course every single week, and XL editions of Rewind of Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. Sign up now at postwrestlingcafe.com.